What is up, guys? Coach Kobo back in the building. You already know the vibes. Hockey crew, we back here with another one. And today, guys, I want to talk about the August ban list announcement that happened about 2 weeks ago, I want to say at this point. When the ban list was announced, One Piece Day for August 10th was also announced. And we're going to talk about all the implications of what a potential ban list could look like. They did say August 2025, the ban list was going to happen. So it could happen on August 10th. It could happen on One Piece Day. It could not happen on One Piece Day, but we know for certain something's happening on One Piece Day. And we'll talk about that probably in another video. If you know, you know. People think that it's going to be an emu face reveal. And the final leader of OP13, as it's been heavily implied. If you don't know, you gotta check out Twitter, honestly. But make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into the August ban list predictions. Also, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think is gonna get banned, and do you agree with my bans or do you not? Most of you probably won't, because I troll a lot. All right, so let's get into it. So I am going to address this in some parts. So I think that when we're thinking about these ban lists, we always want to think about what the old problems were. Bring forth the world's ban list reaction video that I did when it was announced in Japan for the April 2025 format, when Gecko Moria, Jinbei, Ice Age, and Raigo were all banned at the same time at the conclusion of Worlds in Japan, right? So this format basically changed overnight because all of a sudden Gecko Moria was unplayable, Jinbei was unplayable, Ice Age was unplayable, Raigo was unplayable. Gecko Moria and Ice Age were basically the foundations of any good black deck in the format, namely Rob Lucci. Jinbei was the saving hope and grace of Doflamingo. And that basically destroyed the deck and neutered it pretty hard. And then Raigo kind of got like a surprise ban and hit out of nowhere because people didn't see that one coming. But then you think about the rationale, it kind of made it so yellow stayed in check, because if not, Anel would have been popping up a lot more because it would have had free KO for anything on boards, which would have limited UP and its uprising in OP11. So those were the old problems. Some of the new problems in this format in the OP11 meta going into OP12, let's talk about them. The first one on my list I think is very obvious, is going to be the UP leader itself. If you guys don't know what this leader does, you've been living under a rock. But basically you are able to draw 2 cards per turn the longer the game goes once you have 8 or more Dawn. And on top of that, you're able to stack these cards in any order. So crazy combinations like Sanji into Big Mom can go into play. Sanji into Katakuri, which is Charlotte. Katakuri 8 cost can go into play. And this deck gets insane value the longer the game goes. It's probably one of the most unfair leaders in the game to date. And I played through Soccer format. I played through Law format. I think UP is probably the most unfair that I've seen so far, if I'm being honest. So I think that's a really big problem in this meta. Another problem, and almost a response to UP Luffy, has been Hodi Jones. Now, a lot of people are calling it a problem because green has become kind of this anti-purple meta game counter in a sense. But it really does come down to Hodi Jones and its on-playability of being able to rest a total of Dawn and or characters, and then also get the rush for a 7 Dawn play. Now, I will say in OP12, we do get the introduction of a new 4-cost event, Demon Ashura 9 Sword, and basically it's Hodi as an event card, right? You don't get the 8k rush body, but you basically do get the same effect for 4 Dawn, and it is a straw hat, it is searchable, so GP will be playing it a lot. So you will still have this effect in the game, it just may not be on a rush 7-8 body, okay? So people are calling Hodi Jones a problem. Now, Another card that's probably the reason why Hodi Jones is a problem, but also a counter to a lot of the meta, is Gum Gum Giants. Now, I'm a GP player, so I'm not going to tell you that I haven't been a Gum Gum abuser, but this card essentially reads, Dawn -2, you may trash one card from your hand if your leader has Straw Hat type crew. Give up to one of your leaders or characters plus 4k for the turn, and then if you do, draw 2 cards. Now, the crazy part about this is that essentially if you Dawn -2 at the end game, the Dawn -2 basically means nothing. You get to do plus 4k for free. Then you get to draw 2 cards, which could potentially be 2 2ks, so you're able to get a minimum of 8k counter from just one event. Now, that's kind of insane. Also, if you think about it, Gum Gum Giant is essentially a free 2k in hand because of the fact that that card itself activating is 1 card. The most value that a card could get is 2,000 counter, right? So think of Gum Gum Giant as a 2,000 counter, and then any other card in your hand that has no counter is also a 2,000 counter. So at a minimum, 4,000 counter for 2 dead cards in your hand, quote unquote, right? So that's kind of insane. I think Gum Gum Giant is really problematic in this meta. I think UP abuses it the most. I think GP is a good user of Gum Gum Giant. I don't think it abuses it as much as UP, if I'm being honest with you. That could be recency bias, but I think UP is honestly the clear abuser of Gum Gum Giant, and I think Gum Gum Giant can stay if UP is dealt with. Just my opinion, all right? So let's talk about what I think the most likely scenarios are with this upcoming ban list. Here's what I think the solution is. Gum Gum Giant, Luffy, and Charlotte Linlin are probably one of the top 3 candidates to get banned. I do not see every single card being banned, but I do see one or the other being banned. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I don't think Gum Gum Giant's getting touched because PRBO2 is having a manga, quote unquote, reprint of Gum Gum Giant coming out in October. If the Bandai wants to sell these cards, they are going to need to keep Gum Gum Giant in circulation for at least another formats, right? So I don't think Gum Gum Giant goes out. I also don't think that Sanji comes out because in PRBO2, Sanji is a 9-cost parallel manga. So what are the only 2 cards left? You either ban the leader or you ban the other problem in this deck, because yes, there are multiple problems in this deck, Charlotte Linlin. Now, the problem with the Charlotte Linlin card is not that it's busted in any way by itself, it's that it's busted in UP Luffy. Because what essentially Charlotte Linlin reads is, I get to establish 2 bodies at most, if not 1 body with the Sanji, right? So Sanji could go into the Charlotte Linlin, Dawn -1, remove a 6 cost or less from your opponent's board, and then heal you in 1 turn, while also establishing 2 9k bodies. Now, that's insane value for a card game that at most has 10 Dawn to work with in the turn. You are cheating 18 Dawn worth of characters for 1 freaking Sanji. And on top of that, you are removing something and you are healing life for 1 freaking Sanji. Now, a lot of UP players will say, oh, but you have to make sure that you have the Sanji, you have to make sure you have the Charlotte Linlin. It doesn't matter, guys. This is a probable high roll for the UP player, but I will also say this is way more likely to happen than not at least once every 3 games, because of the fact that it is pretty likely that the UP will go and see half of their deck throughout the turn, because again, they are drawing 2 cards a turn while you are drawing 1. So I think that Charlotte Linlin does ultimately become the problem here. I think it is the most likely card to get banned, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just erased UP Luffy to say, hey, this leader's nuts. This leader is going to limit card design. Let's just get rid of it before it happens. Now, my only objection to them actually getting rid of UP is the fact that it's only been around for 1 set, and I haven't seen Bandai do this yet, where they've only given a leader 1 set. So I don't think UP leader is actually going to get banned. I think it has to be Charlotte Linlin. I'm 95% confident that that's what's going to be the case. but those are just my opinions. Now, let's get into what the people want, because the people want a lot. So, what do the people want? The people want Charlotte Pudding banned. The people want UP Leader banned. The people want Hodi Jones banned. The people want Karasu banned. And the people want Sakazuki. Yes, the people want Sakazuki unbanned. So let's talk about briefly, we already talked about UP and Hodi for a little bit, so let's talk about Pudding, Karasu, and Sakazuki. Pudding. The point of Pudding essentially tells your opponent, you cannot get too greedy in this card game if you are playing against a blue deck, because if not, I will punish you and reset your cards to 5 in hand, right? So if you ever play against a green deck, or even a purple deck, or even a red rush aggro deck, most of them have pretty gigantic hands. You're looking at hands of 9, 8, almost 10 sometimes in hand, because they're playing one character a turn and passing off the turn. There's not much tempo being established. What Pudding basically says is, hey, you don't establish much, you keep your hand super high, I'm just going to punish you. And people hate that about a game, right? People hate the fact that this is not a generic card in every single archetype, and I think that's important to acknowledge the fact that it is a blue mechanic to have some type of hand manipulation with either your hand or your opponent's hand. So, do I think that Charlotte Pudding deserves to be banned? I do not think so at this current point in time. I do think that it is a problematic card, and if we're going to get to super aggressive metas where metas become like where it becomes a normal thing where we have 8, 9, 10 card hands, and that's where Bandai wants to take the game, then Pudding gets it. But I don't see Bandai trying to do that right now, so I think Pudding is a perfectly good, reasonable counter in the game, and I do think it does take some skill to play around. And you kind of just have to be aware, if you're playing against a blue deck, Pudding's most likely 99% in that deck, so you got to make sure that you play around it. Kind of just what it is. Karasu, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I trolled a whole bunch on X and said Karasu needs to be banned. I really don't care. I never had a problem playing against Bello Betty. I play GP. I think Karasu is a great card, and I actually want to see it free because I want to see my man Karasu in OP13 with my boy Sabo. I think those that combo potential could go nuts. So keep my boy Karasu alive. And then the people also want Sakazuki unbanned. If y'all see the background of this slide specifically, y'all can see the law on the left side. You can see the Saka on the right side. This is one of the videos that I have in my channel. Make sure to go check it out if you want. But I basically did an unbanned locals about 2 weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago now. I took full power RP law with Sanji and Pudding, with Black Maria, with one Claustrophaga law, to that locals, and I played against a whole bunch of Sakazukis. I did a best of 3. Again, make sure to go check out that video. It should probably be linked here somewhere, maybe down there, maybe down here, wherever, right? But I really do think that Sakazuki would be a really good answer to kind of get more of these decks involved in the meta. I also think Sakazuki could be a potential problem in this meta because they might gatekeep lower tier decks from entering the meta, right? So it could be kind of that gatekeep deck, kind of like where Lucci was before Gecko got banned. But I think that Saka has lost enough power where I don't know if it's going to be that good anymore. I will say, because I was playing against Saka in OP11 format, I don't know how the OP12 Navy cards might affect Saka, if it might make it better. So we'll just kind of have to see. But I don't think that Saka's like super overpowered, if I'm being honest with you guys. I think that Saka's kind of like that balanced, dare I say, balanced leader. And its biggest potential is like Hound Blaze and Amasword, right? But like, you have to kind of do a lot in order to be able to get like high removal consistently, because you're always using 2 to 3 cards in hand. I don't know if Saka's that good. I think Saka's only like great inherent ability is like that trash one, draw one. Maybe there's a world where you play 4 Hinas. I don't know. I really don't know. I think Saka in the right hands could probably still be super valuable and super powerful, but I don't think it's that overpowered as people are making it seem. All right. Let's move on to the unbans. If there were any unbans that I could honestly see happening, I do think that Sokka Leader could be unbanned, because I would just kind of love to see the chaos unfold. Just see a whole bunch of people being like, Sokka, 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 and then it gets wiped by like Kalgara or something, right? That actually happened in our unbanned logos. Go check that out. But unbans, I think Sokka could definitely happen, and it'll be okay. I'm not gonna lie, I think it'd be okay. I also think that Moby Dick could come back because of the fact that OP13 is introducing a brand new red and blue ace leader, and I think that this would provide insane boost to any potential future ace leader. It can get Newgate back into the meta and make it relevant. It can make OPO3 ace pretty relevant. I think that deck has the potential, and I might be playing it soon. I literally have this like ace leader just chilling here, so I don't know, I might fuck around and find out. But yeah, I really think that Moby Dick is like a card that's been pretty long like jailed up, prisoned, and I think it's time. I think it's time to kind of fuck around and find out with Moby Dick. I do think that you could probably bring it back, and maybe 1 or 2 copies, maybe not a full 4 copies, but 1 or 2 copies, and see what it does in the meta, you know? It's unprecedented. Bandai hasn't unreleased cards at like 1 or 2. It's either banned them or unreleased them at full capacity. So it'd be interesting to see what happens, but I do think that Moby Dick could actually come back, and I don't think it'd do too much in the meta. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Moby Dick does a lot? Do you think it changes the meta entirely? I don't think so. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, my banless wish. If it were up to me, if it was up to Coach Kobo, what would I want banned? What would I would love to see banned? I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a huge buggy hater, bro. I have the deck built and I unsleeved that bitch because of the fact that I hate the game style. And it's not even buggy itself. It's not the deck. It's shoe buggy. This card reads, this character cannot attack. So this useless son of a bitch can't do shit. But all it can do is tell other decks, hey, just so you know, I'm around so you can't play the game. Primarily Blackbeard, Lucci, really? Like this deck is, like this card is literally the most stupidest designed character in the game. I've never seen such a crazy floodgate outside of Buggy, bro. I don't understand its reasoning, its logic. So I really don't like this card design. Am I tilted about it a little bit? I think you guys can clearly see that I get tilted about this card, but outside of this card, there's no other card like it. It's kind of like pudding, but it's not even a blue mechanic. It's just a freaking buggy. It's weird, bro. And then the on play of being able to play a 6 cross guild is good because of the fact that obviously it temples in the buggy deck pretty well. But not being able to attack and just limiting other decks kind of does suck because I don't know. I just don't think that this card is like good for the game, if I'm being honest. Like, this card just gatekeeps a lot of decks, if I'm being honest with you guys. So if it were my wish list, I'd ban this shoe buggy, if I'm being honest with you guys. And now that's coming from the player that had the ultimate buggy deck. So I'll let you guys know that. All right. Next on this list, I think UP has to go. I think the leader or a severe hindrance to it is like 9-Mom, and then the next card on this list, Katakuri, because Katakuri gives this deck so much sustainability and so much value. With a Katakuri on board, you can literally have, technically, for 1 hit, a 12k leader with a Gum Gum Giant open, which is absolutely insane value. Like, you cannot hit for 12 because this character can absorb up to 12k in 1 shot. That's kind of nutty, guys. And again, I know you can aggro it down with like things like Bello Betty, with like Zoro and stuff, but sometimes that's just not enough because not all of us are playing rush aggro. So I think Katakuri, if I really had to make an argument for any card in the deck being banned outside of Lin, outside of Gum Gum Giant, it would probably be Katakuri. Also, I think this deck, this card is just abused in all purple decks. Like, I saw it yesterday in the PB Luffy, and I was just like, what is this doing in PB Luffy? And like, I don't know if it's good in PB Luffy, but I've seen it good in Purple Luffy, I've seen it good in UP Luffy, I've seen it good in Nico Robin, I've seen it good in Katakuri, which is obviously the deck that's supposed to be played in. I think this card's kind of busted, if I'm being honest with you. I think This card opens the portal into things like Dracul Mihawk 8 cost, which we're getting in OP12, which is kind of ridiculous. So that's why I really don't like this card. Again, if we're going to have this card for every single card or every single color in the game, sure. But purple having this and green having this and no other decks having this is kind of crazy. I mean, I guess you can kind of say Kid is that for green as well, but that's just another green card, you know? So I don't know. This is kind of broken and I would want to see it gone. And then lastly, guys, I'm gonna be real frank with you guys. When OP7 dropped, I was a Bonnie player. And I absolutely loved the deck because of the fact that it was Bonnie, and Bonnie's one of my favorite girl characters in One Piece. Robin being my favorite, but Bonnie being like a close second or third. And it's just like such a cool like backstory and stuff. But as I started playing Bonnie, I kind of got bored because it's like a generic like, oh, like this is good in pre-release, but is it really a good deck? Blah, blah, blah. So I got off Bonnie. I sold my Cavendishes and then I picked them back up to play GY Law. But Bonnie itself, I feel like the leader is really good. It's been good for most of the meta. It's been the green deck to play, right? But I really just don't like it because of the fact that you have to work around certain conditions, like that one Don that Bonnie's always going to keep up, that Cavendish that Bonnie's always going to keep up, that Tashigi that makes the board uninteractable, that Koshiro that's going to make the board uninteractable. It kind of just becomes this leader where you can't really do much. You kind of just have to play around their uninteractable board. And I think that that's going to inherently become a problem for the game. I think Zoro is going to also be a huge problem when it comes out. And I think that green needs to kind of get into a space where, I know green's weakness for the longest time was black. So what they did to combat it was basically say, hey, we're going to make the board uninteractable. But now that black's literally become the back burner of Bandai, they banned Ice Age, they banned Great Eruption. I'm surprised they haven't banned Tempest Kick. Like, what does green need? Like, green is literally free, guys. And like my boy Adir would be watching this video and he's probably yelling, yeah, because green is free, guys. Like, Bonnie's like literally not a problem in the meta because there are a lot of answers to it. But Bonnie, like the green archetype is kind of becoming a problem. As of right now, as the time of recording this video, OP11's out, so only Bonnie's technically the one that can really served from this. But I think Zoro's gonna be a problem. And if I had to give a leader ban, yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, Bonnie's gotta go, guys. And that's just me being greedy. That's just me being like, I want to play GP. That's just me being the guy. But let me know what you guys think. What's your banless wish list? What's your predictions down in the comment section down below? Again, my real honest predictions are literally just Linlin or UP. That's it. I think that's the only bans that are actually going to get touched. I know everybody and their mom wants to see Hodi Jones banned. I know everybody and their mom wants to see Sakazuki back. I know everybody and their mom would love to see Charlotte Pudding banned. But honestly, I think that's pretty much it. All right, so let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Make sure to also subscribe as we're on the road to 1,000 subs. We'd like to get 500 subs by the end of the summer, but who knows? Let me know in the comment section down below. Peace.